Sound Off.
Rated T14.
Does young people even need a voice in this community? What can the community expect from this show?
I am my brother's keeper. We got to be responsible for each other.
It's okay to be different. Building stronger communities by helping the rest of our community really make it and achieve their dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go!
Welcome back to Sound Off, and Sound Off is heard weekly on your favorite radio station, and we are sponsored weekly by Carolina Teen Health, and I'm really excited to have in the studios with us on this morning some really good-looking, intelligent young people, as always. And also, I will begin at this time to let my special guest introduce yourselves.
Sheldon Jarrett from A Father's Place.
Sean Pierce, Coastal Carolina University.
Roberta Graham, Dillard's Coastal Grand.
Javante Sarvis.
DeAndre Campbell from Early College.
Michelle DeBerry from Conway High School.
Tanisha Jones, HGTC.
And what we're talking about this morning is parenting. And before we went into break, we had really good dialogue. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue. The conversation continues. And guys, I want to give you something to think about. I know you probably heard the saying, love is not what it says, it's what it does. I'm going to begin with Sean. Now, what I want to know, Sean, is how dangerous is that as it relates to parenting? Because, you know, what about this kid that believes that all my dad has to do is buy, 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 buy? And if I'm not mistaken, when we started the show, Javante said she likes affection. So every now and then, do you think it's necessary for us as parents to openly express ourselves in terms of, baby, I love you, even when you get on my nerves?
Yeah, I think that's a really important message for kids to hear and for anyone to hear, for that matter. I think a lot of times it's really how we were brought up and how that fits into our mode. But I'm a real touchy-feely person. I believe in the power of hugs and the power of kisses and all that. So you know, I would highly recommend it.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Jerry?
I feel the same way. I think that it's important. Again, we speak about, you know, communicating openly. So body language is also a form of communication. And definitely being able to express verbally how you love a child, and your word is complemented by the deeds that you express in regards to that love, whether it's saying I love you or giving hugs or, you know, coming and sitting next to them on the couch or letting them, you know, get up on the bed. That's, you know, I think that's all cool, but with everything, you know, everything is done with intelligence and moderation. You know, you don't want to have a teenage kid, you know, with misconceptions, you know, when they're going through things. So I think that there's still, it's necessary, but there still has to be an applied consciousness to it, you know, in regards to displaying affection. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. Okay, all right. What about you, Roberta? And then we'll go, Javante, I'm sorry. Go ahead with Javante.
Well, I kind of agree with Mr. Sean. I'm very, very big on hugs because, like, even some of my, like, for example, a while back, this lady, she was talking to, well, a lady I call another one of my mothers, she was talking to this lady telling us issue, and she gave everybody a hug. And by the time she just came and gave me a hug, and I barely knew her, and she hugged me. And like when I give hugs, I'm gonna hug you, like you're gonna feel it. And like she hugged me for so long, like she was like, I don't know what it was, but when you hugged me, she felt the love or whatever. And that's what I feel like all parents should give. When you're a child and you go to your mother or a parent, when they hug you or embrace you, you should be able to feel the love. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Okay, good point. Very good point.
I feel about the same way, Javante, and I'm the type of person is anybody can say that I love you, but to show me that you love me is a whole different story. And my take on it is the time is valuable. You cannot replace time with anything. So if you just give that child the time that they need, because you never know when, you know, what they're going through at school. So just to say, okay, let's just go out to eat, or just let's go take a walk in the park, or just let's sit here and watch TV. I ask my kids, they like, sometimes I say, well, do y'all want to go to the movies, or do y'all want to stay home and watch a movie? They would say, let's stay home and watch a movie, because they just want that time with us just together. I just feel that just showing that love is very, very important, because they should always feel love first at home before they feel it anywhere else. Right. So they'll know the right kind of love. Because when you go out there, you know, that messed up love.
Setting the example. Yeah. Okay, well, look, since I'm the host, I'm going to mess with you a little bit. Trey, my dude,
How you doing?
would you prefer time, love, or if your dad just buy you stuff? Which is more important to you?
Well, okay.
Bless me, you know, it's like, okay, let me think.
When it comes to like love with my dad and all that, I mean, it's not that I don't feel that the way. Like I don't want to like give a hug. I mean, I can dap you up like how you doing, like what's good, like but like a hug that's just a little too much. But like I mean, it's not that I want the material things or whatever. I mean, like I could say like what's good, you know, we can talk. I mean, how your day been? My day been good, you know, yeah. So then on top of that, like it's not that I want more. I don't want to be like away. It's just that. I mean, he got stuff to do, and I don't want to interfere with that. But also, love is a good thing that needs to be there. And, I mean, I can talk to my mom at times.
So, Trey, are you saying that dads don't need to hug their sons?
What I'm saying is...
Tell me what you're saying, Trey.
What I'm saying is that...
What are you saying, Trey?
What I'm saying is that, me personally,
okay,
I would feel this type of way if a father hug me. I mean, it's not that the whole that's my dad. I don't know. It's just me.
Okay,
but I know I can do a little dap you up and like the little bump shoulders, whatever y'all do. But I mean, I give you a high five here and there. It's just not. It's not that I don't want to hug. That I don't like. Oh, I don't love you. Back away. Okay. I mean, it's just that. Is that
a man? That's a man thing. Okay,
it's just not my preference.
Okay, all right. Hang on a second. I'm gonna let Mr. Jared come in.
I just wanted to chime in. I mean, he makes an excellent point. I think it's phases, and that's what I meant by the expression of that type of affection with consciousness. You know, little boys, you know, little sons, yeah, you can hug them all day long and, you know, still put your nose in the neck and, you know, make funny noises and they'll giggle off. But as you get older, you know, as the young boys go through their transition, you know, they begin to want their space. You know, the sister said earlier about not feeling smothered. You know, again, you can also smother the youth with not just, you know, protectiveness, but you can smother them with that expression of affection as well. And so, again, it's just a level of consciousness that has to be applied. And then as you get older, like, you know, once you go through your transition, young man, and you get older, like now, I hug my dad, you know, I'll hug him. Like the sister said, time is precious. So you understand those phases, and now, you know, me and Pop's still cool. Hey, what's up, Pop? But before I leave, you know, I embrace Pop. You know what I mean? So time is precious, but I think it's just the stages that we go through in expressing that affection, and that's why it has to be applied, you know, with consciousness. We don't want to overdo it either, you know, because you can sort of push the child away sometimes with overdoing it.
Okay, well, help me out. I have a son, and I love hugging my son, but of course he's 13. And so now he doesn't, and I do agree. I'm a living example. He's 13, so when I want to hug, he doesn't want to hug. And to be honest, initially that really hurt my feelings. I'm like, what happened? So I guess the phases, yeah, okay, all right. I'm just being honest. I'm being real. So let me ask you, Trey, and then I'm going to anybody else that want to jump in. I'm going to pick on you, Trey, because I want to understand this. Now, what about with your mom? Are you more comfortable hugging your mom than with your dad?
My mom can get all the hugs she wants.
Double standards then. Okay, jump in, Mr. Counselor. Come on.
Well, you know, and I do think people have different comfort levels of what they're comfortable with, and that's fine if we're listening to our children, and as long as there's some form of affection that's going on, I think that's great. But there is a power in hugs.
I mean,
yes, it is.
I mean, like, I'm not going to treat them no type of way. I mean, I'm not going to treat them differently. It's just how I feel at the moment. I mean, well, not in the moment, just how I feel at them, like, bam, right now. I mean, mom can get a hug. She want a hug. Dad, you want a hug? Put your hands down. I'll give you a high five. But, I mean, it's just how it is right now. I mean, like Ms. Sean said, when I get older, then I'll, like, be ready to embrace him. Like, right now, maybe a handshake, high five. You can text me, I'll text you back. I don't know right now.
What if your dad asks you say, listen, son, I need a hug?
Well, if he asks for a hug, I'll be like, oh, okay. Well, I'll give you one. I mean, I'm going to feel some type of way about it, but, like, I'm not going to, like, back it down. I will give you a hug.
Okay, all right. And I'm really picking with you, but I really wanted that answer because I felt rejected. When no, not really, but I mean, it does change, and you're absolutely right, Mr. Jared. I'm at 13, they just don't want to hug like if he was 7 or 5 or what have you. Tanisha, I see you want to jump in here.
the way I feel about that is like the way I was brought up. The way I was brought up is I got rewarded. Like my parents brought me toys or games that I wanted when I like get good grades, got an award. But nowadays I see parents, they just buy their kids whatever. And I look at the kids, and the kids are just as grown. They're 7, 8 years old and talking back. And I personally don't think you should buy your children affection. I think you should reward your children.
Okay, good point. Michelle.
Now, sometimes the buy-in ain't all that bad either.
You're being honest. You're being very honest.
Like my parents, when, you know, and even now, I still get the hugs and, you know, the Michelle, I love you and everything. But sometimes, like last week, my mama bought me a necklace that says Shelly just to say I love you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's not just a feeling. I got proof my mama loves me. It was more a confirmation that, you know, my parents loved me, that they took money and, you know, time out their schedules to go out and buy me a gift to say I love you instead of just saying it, you know.
Okay, go, Tanisha.
And I agree with Michelle. The only thing I was just saying is that these parents that be out here just be buying, just buy for your kids, buy this, that, and the third for your kids. It's like, it's just crazy. Like, I don't know. I do enjoy getting things from my father too.
Okay, Javante.
I agree with that. It's some parents that do just buy, and that it's a positive, but it's not also a positive because you keep buying them. After a while, you can't buy them nothing else. So what you gonna do then? You're gonna have to show them the basis of love, and just like Tanisha said, you should. I think most parents should just, if they're gonna get them something or feeling spontaneous, like, oh, I love my daughter or I love my son. This right here, they would love this. So let me show them my love by showing them something they would love. So,
okay. Well, let me point, and then I'm coming to you. You know, what about? Let's talk about what I deem as necessary, and might not be as tangible, but what about teaching integrity and, you know, spiritual foundation and self-worth and discipline? Are we lacking? Is that because we have a problem? Because if we didn't, we would not have the crime rate that we do. We wouldn't have all the school shooting. So what are we missing? We talk about giving things, but have we lost what's really important in terms of what grandma and them taught us? I mean, what happened to the village concept? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
When you said that, a thought came to mind. I think, well, as I grew up, I was always in church. I was in church every Sunday. Okay, yeah, we might miss one because we were tired from the the day prior to, but I would always go to church. You would always learn these little Bible stories, you know, about John and Jesus and Mary and Jesus. And like a little girl that goes to my church, she's with me all the time, and she was brought up in the church the same way. And her little brother had a birthday party, and the party started like 6:30, and she saw that no one was coming. And so she said, her mama told me, she went in the corner and she prayed about it. She asked the Lord, Lord, please let people come to my little brother's first birthday party. The next thing you know, crowds of people just came in the door, and like just from that day on, I think she's gonna have so much strength in the Lord. And if you bring them up from the get-go, when they're young, if you keep going, take them to church and let them, be around people that's in church, they'll get that spiritual insight. So,
okay. So foundation, Michelle.
I believe, like, when you were talking about the crime rate and everything, it's like you can only do, like, if I had a child, I could only do so much for that child. You know, I'm not going to be able to hold their hand when they get out of college or whatever and everything. It's their life. Like, I'm not going to be with them 24/7. So if they choose to break into Balo and do whatever, that's them. I didn't teach them to do that. That's just how they chose to go on with their life. And that goes back to my thing about smothering. You can't always go on a child, like stay on them and say, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, because I knew when I was little, my parents would tell me I can't do something. I knew when I got older and I got the age, I was going to do it just because you told me I couldn't do it.
Hold that thought, because when we come back, the conversation continues. You're listening to Sound Off, heard weekly on your favorite radio station and sponsored weekly by Carolina Teen Health. Sound Off. We invite you to join this conversation. All you have to do is simply log on to www.wesoundoff.com SoundOn.com, and you can be a part of this discussion. SoundOn.
Rated T14.